I just sent you another video, okay? Hi, Stephanie. Good morning. Hi there. Testing, testing. Good morning, everybody. Show before the show here. Hope everybody's doing well. Projo just sent you a quote from Donald Trump as well, okay? All right. We'll run it up there with the Trump video. Thanks, buddy. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Good morning to everybody.
Now, when you sent me that link, it started on the second tile. Are we doing all the tiles or just?
Yes, all the tiles.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, usually it's just a continuation. Thanks for asking, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guys, hope you're doing well today. Everybody ready to rock and roll? Hey guys, welcome to the show before the show. Putting final touches on everything right now. Hope and pray you guys are good. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing the show. Letting people know, jumping in on our chat line as well. Isn't it funny how the only Democrat that ended up with any common sense was John Fetterman? Yeah. That's for certain. Woo! TikTok, time to start. Robert, hello. Good morning, everybody. Robert says, whatever happened to that no one is above the law bullshit? Law firms Perkins, Cole, and Winterhale will ask federal judges in D.C. to permanently ban Donald Trump's executive orders against them. I know, it's wrong. Donald Trump has called this out publicly, too. Donald Trump has tried to sue them for what they have done. And then they gave them, guess what? A judge appointed by Obama who has donated to liberal causes. Yep. It's the Hollywood script. Good morning, Stephanie, Mitch, Karen, everybody there. Benjamin. Once again, I repeat today, we'll get into it. How can you be a Jewish person and ever vote Democrat again? You cannot be a true Jew and vote Democrat. That may sound controversial, but when you see what Yale is now allowing, Yale now allowing Jewish students to be treated with anti-Semitism, bullying. Where are you, Yale? Ivy League, you're on the clock. Oh, yeah, and by the way, the Ivy League, not only Harvard, but a few other schools are now suing Donald Trump to try to continue to do what they're doing. That's right, not putting practices in place to protect Jewish students and allowing their DEI to run rampant. Why have a president then? I agree. Just sad all the way around. Sad, sad, sad. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing the show. Of course, you can jump in on Facebook, Rumble, X, and YouTube. Dick Durbin refused to subpoena Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs. Yep. And then lied about it. Yep. And guess what? Yesterday, and I will call him a liar, and he's a snake. I dealt with him personally. He's not going to be running for re-election just before the Epstein files are supposed to be released. Is he getting ahead of something? Certainly makes you wonder, Robert. That's for sure. We hold no holds, it's a no holds barred show. Fact, not fiction. Fact, not feelings. We want truth, and we're grateful for everybody doing what they're doing.
$9
Ultimately, it comes down to the Dems have lost power and control, and they'll do whatever necessary to get it back. You're right, Paul. Good morning, Addie. Executive Trump's all, his will. All right, let's go ahead and get this bad boy started. Hey guys, welcome to Cancel This. Vic Faust here, Pro Joe alongside behind the scenes. Literally, we are packed this morning. Joe's got to have his fingers and his brain ready to go today. You ready to go today? You ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
We got a lot to go for backwards to forwards. Our good friend Wayne Bell with thecoloringbook.com. Check it out. An amazing company. By the way, I do some stuff for them on the side as well. That's right. What don't I do? The best coloring book company in the world, based right in the St. Louis area. They do color. You know, rappers have coloring books. They go through this dude in St. Louis. Rappers, musicians. It's insane. Yeah, that's their website. They do so much. Maybe the Battlehawks have a coloring book coming up. Talking to St. Louis City SC. Lots of things going on there. Anyway, they put together a presidential education coloring book gift pack for kids to learn. Very interesting. You may want to check that out. He's coming up at about 8:50. Lots of Trump news today. All good. Just about him getting things done because that's what Donald Trump does. Democrat state senators literally telling you that 13-year-olds have the ability to tell parents what they're going to do. This is what the Democratic Party has fallen on. They don't know who they are, what they are, anything. Pam Bondi, we brought her up. You guys brought her up the other day. What is she doing? Well, allegedly, she's working on a lot of arrests behind the scenes. We're told that she's very quiet about her business. She dots her I's, crosses her T's, and is not much for the media. We'll see what's up with that. I know it happened a few days ago, but did you see the Boston police officer go in for a disturbance call and then get verbally abused, literally threatened? And race is a factor here because it's a white man going into an all-black neighborhood and having black man get in his face, cuss him out, literally intimidating him. Because if it was the other way around, where it was a black officer going into an all-white area and white men were sitting there getting in his face and cussing him out, it would be all over the world news. Yes, we're going to get to that. Jerome Powell news, because our economy is the most important thing we have to worry about first. It is. We got to worry about the economy. Why is he doing what he's doing now? And why did he do what he did when the election was rolling around? Ketanji Jackson Brown also, Ketanji Brown Jackson, excuse me, literally telling parents that schools can teach their kids whatever they want. I mean, another Democrat, go figure. Why are people trying to steal Kristi Noem's purse, literally from her feet, right where she's sitting? Yeah, makes you wonder some of those things. And of course, we're going to get into the Yale situation. It just frustrates me that another Ivy League school, nobody wants to protect the Jewish students. We're the Democrats. The only ones speaking up are Republicans, which is why I say, if you're a true Jew, how could you ever vote Democrat again? You can't. And I hang out with Jews and I talk to them. And one just looks at me and goes, I don't know, Vic. I have no idea how the hell people can go vote for Democrats after they sit back and watch their brothers and sisters be treated the way that they're being treated right now. It's time to check yourself when you look in the mirror. Where's the Jewish community standing up for their own? And that comes a day after it was Holocaust Remembrance Day. This show sticks up for them, and we always will. 6 million Jews literally done away with in the worst ways. Yeah, where's Yale? Where's Harvard? Where's the rest of those Ivy League schools? Led by Jews. Hello. Led by Jews. Suing Donald Trump when Donald Trump is trying to provide protection for Jewish students. People will tell you things, but always judge actions. People will tell you things, always judge actions. Right out of the gate, though, I want some positive news today. Can we start with some Charlie Kirk video? This is from 2 nights ago, and we've been talking and showing you Charlie Kirk videos over the years. Do I agree with everything that he says? No, most of it. And I do love the fact that, like I said, that he goes to college campuses, and he was there when he had thousands of people screaming at him, but he's so strong. He's courageous that now he has turned the tide literally by himself on college campuses. From Texas A&M the other night, look at this amazing video when he showed up for one of his sessions. Pretty awesome. Can I see that again? These are college students in Aggie land. Oh my gosh, I love it. Who would have ever thought that we would see scenes like this in college campuses? I love it. It was amazing. Thank you for showing Charlie the respect that he deserves, because man, oh man, that guy put up with so much stuff over the years. It's insane. Also, from the chat line. Yeah, and we're gonna get into some of those things there. You guys trying to get to your comments as well. It's the deep state against Christine Ohm. We'll get into that. Robert says Jews will tell you they vote demon rat, known as Democrats, because they are for the minority. It's laughable. It is laughable. You're right. If any Jew tells you that, they're lying. They're lying. They're flat out lying. Robert says Baylor is similar. Well, yeah, that's a dry campus too. That's true. A lot of college campuses are turning. Jeannie says that's beautiful watching that video. Paul says it's all about the money, guys. That's a huge factor and dictates behavior. Of course it does. It always does. It's just I've just watched for so long the Jewish community talk about what's happened to them and how they've been treated and walk a day in their shoes. And then when the pro-Palestinian movement and those associated with it go after Jews on our college campuses, where's all the Democrats? Where's the feminists sticking up for the other women who are being verbally brutalized? Where are these politicians? Where are the local leaders? They don't care about the Jewish community. It's only the conservatives that do and stand up like Donald Trump in this show. People need to start being jailed for harassment. Yeah, they do, Jeannie. And guess what? This is what Donald Trump is trying to do with his situation of pulling funding from Harvard because he wants those students protected. And guess what? They're suing him to not protect Jewish students right now. Who's got your back, Jewish community? You know who's got your back. It's Donald Trump, whether you like him or not. He's the guy that has your back. He's going into that ring and fighting for you. There's no Democrats doing it. Certainly not Jamie Raskin. It's certainly not Garber or whoever the Jewish president of Harvard is. We call it straight. We call it fair on this show, and we're always going to do that. It's about truth. It's about facts, not feelings. Facts, nonfiction. We're here first to bring you those stories because mainstream media just won't. And we're not trying to be mean. We're trying to be truthful. And people need to be protected. Because imagine if you're on a college campus. I dealt with bullying when I was a kid. I also shared that story of what happened to me at the Detroit Red Wings celebration parade. If you get into a situation where mob mentality rules and you're by yourself and there's multiple people around you yelling at you, screaming, you don't know what's going to happen to you. You can't see everywhere. It's a chaotic scene, and that's what these students are going through. Shame on the Ivy League schools that are doing this. Shame on Harvard. Shame on Yale. And here's how you make sure that people understand where your school is. You come out immediately. You don't allow them to do what they're doing. You break up their encampments and you suffocate it. Make sure that nobody's ever allowed to do it again. It's very interesting from the chat line. It's getting out of control. It is. Let's show the video from Yale. What's going on with this? Because it's just not right. And I hate to see people being treated wrongly. Nobody should ever be treated like this. From the chat line, mob mentality is the demon rat party.
This is my space too. I want to walk through my space. This is my space. I pay for this space. This is your space. You don't own this. Get out of my way. I want to walk here. This is my campus too. This is my campus too. I want to walk here. Free Palestine! Free, free! Can you see?
Yeah, shouldn't that upset you? It should. What? Innocent students. Once again, I'm starting to call them the Jewish community now. Where's the Jewish community? It's time for you guys to stand up and say something. Be more, right? Where are the Jews around America? Stand up for this. I see some of them on Fox News, but the Jewish community needs to stand up and protect their own and say, we condemn Democrats. We condemn the people who are doing this. If the Jewish groups around America were more vocal about this, things would change. If the Jewish Community Center in St. Louis would stand up and start saying things and putting protest on for anti-Palestine, anti-Ivy League, things would change. I hate it. I hate seeing those shots. These are innocent Jewish students that need to be protected. From the chat line, young skulls of mush. Yep. Plain and simple, those students' civil rights are being violated, and American citizens are standing by and letting it happen. Shameful. At some point, you have to stick up for yourself. Yes, you can't just say, well, I don't know, okay, whatever. The Jewish community now needs to put pressure on these schools. And the Jewish community has a lot of power. There's a lot of smart Jewish people with a lot of money that I know. Good people, good hearts. It's time to start protecting your own and say something and stand up and do not allow your kids to be treated this way. It is horrible, and I can't believe this is going on. Anyway, we call everybody out, and we try to be fair, and we try to be truthful. Thank you, Tanya. You absolutely agree. Yeah, it is. It's not Jewish community can say, well, we're being treated horribly, and well, then go do something about it. You got a president that's trying to do something about it. Don't ever vote for a freaking Democrat again, and this will never happen again. I promise you. Because if Republicans and Democrats are both protecting the Jewish community, guess what? It won't be allowed.
It is perplexing that Jewish people are not speaking out.
Thank you
on this at all.
Yeah, and it's not just saying something; it's organizing. Because I know Jewish people who organize with the best of them when it comes to business, when it comes to money, when it comes to getting certain things out in the community that they want. So why aren't they doing it right now? More people need to speak out, not just a person here or a person there on Fox News. I don't know.
I think you've said more than the Jewish community for the Jewish
You know what?
community.
I have.
I think you have.
And over a long period of time. Because I hate when I see people being bullied. You cannot be bullied. And by the way, males can bully females and females can bully males as well. There's all sorts of forms of bullying. And eventually you have to stand up. You have to say something if you're being bullied. So there it is. I'm off my soapbox with that, but just very disgusted with the Ivy League, Yale and Harvard, and especially the Jewish people who are allowing this to happen, who have leadership roles in these schools because they're so worried about their money. Oh, we're worried about our money more so than we're worried about our community and our young kids. You find out about somebody's heart when you see these things. Oh, well, it is what it is. Moving on, Donald Trump's having another big week. Every day is a big week for Donald Trump. He's in Rome, or he's been in Rome, going to be in Rome for Pope Francis, the memorialization there. He was asked what's going on, and he's talking about a lot of success. Guess what? A lot of world leaders are going to be there. It's time to do business. This is what you do. You get things done. Here's Donald Trump on what's going to happen when he's there.
On your trip to Rome, there's a lot of leaders attending the Pope's funeral who also said they'd like to meet with you while you're there. Do you have any meetings set up?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of meetings set up. I don't know if I can do it. Do you want to help me out, fellas? I got a lot of meetings. I got every leader in the world, which tells you that we have a good product. It's called the United States of America, and it's great. And these people know about it better than anybody in this room. But we have a great place, and it should be a lot greater. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it greater than ever before. It's very simple.
Thank you, Donald Trump. After I have that, I had to start with the bad story first, and then we can move into the good stuff with Donald Trump.
That's why I didn't have the video queued up, because I was expecting that to come later in the show.
No, I'm just kidding. Donald Trump did sign another executive order, and you'll see Will Scharf introducing it. Friend of the show, Will Scharf. Here's Donald Trump on, I mean, it's really sad that he had to actually put an executive order in to give teachers the lawful authority to discipline students. You'll hear Will Scharf explain what the executive order is. Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education, in the background to the right. But he'll explain it. And it has something to do with something that Obama allowed to happen, of course, a while back.
Sir, we have an executive order on school discipline policies. Under, I believe it was the Biden administration, first Obama and then Biden, the Department of Justice issued guidance that made it almost impossible for schools to enforce adequate disciplinary policies. This created issues in the classroom for teachers and students alike. Basically, they focused on CRT and sort of diversity ideology instead of actually just enforcing the rules in classrooms to ensure a safe learning environment. This executive order revokes that prior guidance and puts us back in a place where hopefully the Department of Education can focus on education and teachers can focus on teaching in a safe environment.
And this was important for you, Linda, as I understand it.
Yeah, absolutely, because it gives teachers the authority now to have discipline in their classroom and discipline the person who is being disruptive. We took that away.
We took it away. We love teachers. We love police. We love service industry jobs here. Can you believe that? Obama took it away. Isn't that what he said? Did I hear that correctly? Oh, no, you don't have the authority to discipline students. They're going to run those classrooms. They're going to do what they want to do. And then we had a man, a real man, a man with a spine who came into the White House and is now taking care of business, undoing the wrongs and setting the record straight. Teachers, well, we know what they do. They get disrespected on a daily basis, and especially when it comes to some students, not all students. And they get pushed, they get tested. Many don't get paid what they should or a fair wage. That's a whole nother debate. But at least you have Donald Trump trying to add some respectability back to the profession. Donna says it's been lately that all the kids get punished instead of just one. It should be the one that started it. That's true. You know what? My girlfriend was talking about that. Her son was disciplined because he was in a group. He was just standing there, but they all got punished. I don't know what the right answer is. I guess in a perfect world, you find out exactly who did what, and then you punish those people.
Well, some places have zero tolerance policies. I was once in a fight and was attacked by 3 people, and I ended up getting kicked out of school because I was a part of it.
What?
Yeah. I was attacked by 3 people, got kicked out of school because they have a zero tolerance policy on fighting. Everybody got kicked out.
Yeah, you got to get to the bottom of things and find out truth. That's for sure. Geez, from Mandy on the chat line. Our teachers had paddles when I was in school. Out of line? Got your ass whooped. You know what? When I was in kindergarten, I remember getting a little whooping. I got a SWAT. I remember in kindergarten. I got a SWAT, and it wasn't a private school. It was a public school. I got a SWAT.
You remember the paddles
At a
that used to hang
Hell
in the,
yes,
in the
I
teacher,
do.
or in the principal's office?
That's why I love our generation. Thank you, Donald Trump, from that standpoint. Also asked about tariffs, Canada. You know, media is always trying to ask about certain things. Donald Trump here talking about not wanting our automobiles made in Canada. Why not make them here? Why not continue to make America great again by producing our own products?
Again, we don't really want Canada to make cars for us, to put it bluntly. We want to make our own cars, and we're now equipped to do that. They took a lot of our car business. Mexico, too, took a lot of our car business. We want to make the cars here. I'm running this country. I'm not running Canada. And that's why I asked Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau affectionately, but I asked him, why are we spending $200 billion to support Canada, to subsidize Canada? And he was unable to answer the question. I mean, why are we doing that? And I have to be honest, as a state, it works great. As a nation, considering the fact that most of the nation, 95% of Canada, what they do is they buy from us and they sell to us. They sell to us. If we didn't buy their oil, and we don't need their oil. We have more oil than anyone, but we don't need their oil. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their cars. We don't need anything. So I said, why are we doing this? Why are we spending $200 billion? It doesn't make sense. If we needed something, that would be a different subject. So I'm working well with Canada. We're doing very well. We're working on a deal. We'll see what happens. But again, why, representing this country, why are we spending $200 billion to support and subsidize?
We can get out right there. Yeah, it totally makes sense. Why? Why not? It all makes sense. I know there was some polling out there that shows Donald Trump lost some approval ratings because people were concerned about tariffs, but Watch what happens. I keep telling people, watch what happens. The tariffs are a wonderful idea. And it's brought a ton, trillions of dollars of money into manufacturing being brought back into the United States, which is going to happen. Real quick, before I get back to the Trump situation, I wanted to show a fight. We were talking about the school issue. You've got to have some sort of protection in school. The teachers have to have total control, not all the time that they do. It's sad to show you this video, but this kid in this fight there was a kid that got stabbed. I mean, they got into a fight in school. We're at a point where you have to have, obviously, metal detectors, gun detectors in some schools. I still can't imagine having to go to school like that. Now you have to worry about fights with knives in high schools at West Potomac. Yeah, kids in critical condition after being stabbed. I mean, this was what was going on. And my point was, where are the teachers? Look how long it takes for me to get around. One student tried to stop him. Then the kid in the red just got stabbed right there. And kid just sitting around, you know, we don't know all the details. Just this stuff should not be happening in our high schools. Easy to say that, Vic. I know, but where the hell are the teachers? I mean, where are we at now? What do you have to do? I don't know. Was bullying a part of this? I don't know the backstory. What the hell is going on from the chat line? Yeah, I get it. Could you imagine if your son got stabbed at high school? Yeah, your son's being rushed to the ER. He was stabbed. He was in a fight. It's like, what? At school? Sad. Just don't need it. Robert said, I had a gun pointed at me in high school in 1973. Holy cow. Yeah, we've seen stories. We've covered stories of guns being in high schools.
Well, back when I was in like a freshman in high school, there was a fight after school, and one of my really good friends ended up dying, but it wasn't from being stabbed or anything. It was because they fell the wrong way.
Yeah.
However, I mean, you didn't have to worry about getting stabbed. I mean, yeah, fights happen, but nobody got, I don't know.
No, I watched my friend he and another guy walked up to each other. It was a planned fight. They both went to punch each other. The other guy hit him first. What happened? He fell back, hit his head on the back of concrete, and he had blood on his brain, and they had to figure that whole situation out. I mean, it took a while. He's in the hospital. The teeth through his lips were like the least of his concern after being punched. Just, man. Speaking of fights and fighting, U.S. is now on alert right now because Russia is seeking a port in the war-torn region of the Ukraine-Russia fight right now, and they were bombing Kiev, however you want to pronounce it. Here's Donald Trump. He put some True Social comments, some ideas out this morning, a couple different factors about what he's trying to deal with right now. One of those is Russia. And I can't see my screen right now, so I'll get it back up in a second.
All right,
I'm sure you have it up. It's just my
it's not True Social. It's Instagram.
Oh, it was Instagram. Okay,
yeah, and talking about.
Yeah, did we freeze? I just wanted to make sure
your computer may have, but we didn't. No.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and put that up right now.
All right.
By the way, Jeannie called fights with weapons pussy fights. Be a real person if you're going to fight. Yep. Donald Trump put this out today. A couple different ideas here. We've been covering a couple different topics. The Democrats are fighting like hell to keep murderers and all other type of criminals solidly in the United States of America. They've gone crazy and are only getting worse. He also says gas and grocery prices are way down. That's true. They are from where they were, just like I said they would be. Eggs are plentiful and down 87%. They're down 87% since he took over. Nice. Also, this is what we were just referring to. I am not happy with the Russian strikes on Kiev. Not necessary and very bad timing. Vladimir, stop, all caps with an exclamation point. 5,000 soldiers a week are dying. Let's get the peace deal done. He also added that he feels that a peace deal is close, but Russia went and did what they did today as well. So that's not a good situation. Also, he addressed the southern border. The southern border is now the strongest and safest in USA history, and it will remain so. Thank you, Donald Trump. Okay. And if anything else comes open this morning with Donald Trump, we'll certainly get to that. All right. We've got a situation where Kristi Noem, somebody actually tried to steal her purse from her own feet where she was sitting down. Don't think the attacks won't stop. We already saw what the deep state left did when it came to Pete Hegseth and trying to infiltrate what he was doing. Now they're literally trying to steal the purse of our Homeland Security Director. The balls it takes to think about that and do that. Here's Kristi talking about it.
Question for you. I see you're in the news this week. You went to a restaurant and someone swiped your purse. Who was in a COVID mask, by the way?
Yes,
that tells you
that's
everything.
right. That tells you.
Did you ever get the purse back?
No, I didn't. It was kind of shocking, actually, because it was sitting right by my feet.
Yes.
I actually felt my purse. He hooked it with his foot and drug it a few steps away and dropped a coat over it and took it. But, I felt it, but I thought it was my grandkids kicking me in the legs. But it was very professionally done. And I think
Question for you.
They're trying to get her phone. Any kind of information they can do to get inside anything. I hope they have video of where she was. You think, doesn't she have security?
You would think.
They've got to find that somehow, some way. Somehow, some way. Mitch says the CIA is behind the purse missing. Wouldn't doubt it. Why? How could you say they wouldn't be? Especially if it's professionally done. They know exactly where she's going to be, and they're able to do that. Don't think for a second that certain members of the FBI and CIA aren't trained at the highest level to do things like this. And I am not kidding. When you see movies in Hollywood, and we've seen so many times, what happens in Hollywood movies, we start to see happen in real life, whether it's that time or times in the future. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't move you guys like it did me, but I'm like, damn, the Homeland Security Director's purse stolen when it's right next to her and done so well, and she didn't get the purse back. Damn, there's got to be video somehow, some way. Or was a person in a disguise? Don't think that disguises aren't real. We've talked about that and shown that on the show.
Well, they did say that they were in a COVID mask, so facial recognition or anything wouldn't work.
Tiny says she had over $3,000 with her. Okay. That's how I travel. Joe's laughing. Amen, it is. That's right. I'm willing that in. Oh, brother. Lots to get to still. I'm trying to make sure because we got so much to get to. Speaking of money, real quick, we'll do the money. Secret Service needs several people replaced. Probably. I don't know what's going on with that right now, but we'll see. Jeannie says, by the way, someone tried stealing my purse one time. This mom hopped over the rails and everything to get it back. I did too. Did you get it back? I guess you did. I've never seen a theft take place ever in person. Ever. Police tell you don't get involved. I can't tell you how many news stories. Don't get involved. Just let them steal it. Then call us and then we'll try to do our best to get it back. I get because like you don't know what the assailant or the thief or the robber has in regards to a weapon and what could happen to you. But I don't know. If somebody stole something of mine, I'm trying to get it back. That's for sure. I think. I mean, I guess we're not sure until we get into a situation. But I think I would certainly try to do that. Why did Jerome Powell cut interest rates right before the election, but now he's refusing to? You know why? Because he's a Democrat and because he was trying to give Joe Biden and then Kamala Harris a push, some positive publicity, some positive whatever. Don't think for a second that Jerome Powell has America's best interest at heart when Donald Trump has been calling him out with facts and figures about what's happening with inflation, what's happening with the job market, what's happening with goods and prices, and he's not going to cut the interest rates. Yeah, here's a little bit of the breaking down of what's happening.
For every one Republican economist who works at the Federal Reserve, there are 10 Democrat economists. For every $1 donated from Fed employees in the 2020 election, 97 cents went to Democratic candidates or causes. The rate cut that had no justification in fundamentals of the economy before the election was designed to throw Kamala Harris a lifeline. And now when there's a real justification with lower inflation in the midst of a trade negotiation, a real justification for lower rates, Jay Powell wants to do absolutely nothing except stand in the way. And so it's right that President Trump is calling this out. He has many options in front of him. But I just wish that Jerome Powell would do the right thing. Look at the facts, look at what his colleagues in Europe and Canada and England are doing, and lower rates to support our economy in this critical transition period.
So, James, many are concerned, myself included, at firing Powell at this very second, with the market as fragile as it is, could actually do more harm than good. Some have also talked about a shadow Fed chair. Would you be open to that?
I would be open, and I would be honored if the president would consider me for shadow Fed chair. I've been following this for a decade now, looking very closely at Fed policy and its implications, not just on the stock market, Charles, but on real America. As we speak, President Trump is meeting with the executives of companies like Walmart, Home Depot, and Target. He regularly meets with farmers, the unemployed, retirees. Jay Powell just sits around listening to whatever 400 PhD economists say, talking about racial injustice and climate change. We need a Fed that is accountable to the American people and that focuses on the real economy.
Okay, we can get out right there. 100%. I agree. Shadow chair would be nice. Jerome Powell should be remembered for what he is doing. Anybody that's in a position of power that uses it in a political manner or to go after their opponent or to hurt the American people should be remembered for this. The facts are there. The figures are there. Rates should be cut right now. They should be. And there's not an argument against it right now. There's not one argument against it. Not one. Not one. Robert says, just look at the market. Stock bond market suggest a rate cut is warranted. It is 100% black and white rate cut right now. But this man is refusing because he's part of the deep state, or at least alleged to be, and he wants to go after Donald Trump. Donald Trump has called him out, and now he's taking my ball and going home, because we see what Democrats do, and it never ends good for them, and it doesn't end good for the American people, and he's not trying to help us. We've got to get him out somehow, some way, but Donald Trump says he's not going to fire him or try to force him out. He's just going to call him out. And Jerome Powell should be remembered for what he is doing to America right now. If things aren't as great as they should be, you can thank him for that. One argument is the tariff excuse. Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, we're not confident. We don't want to do long leases. We don't know. That's BS. It's total BS. 100% BS. Yeah, unfortunately, Trump can't fire him. So that's probably why Trump said, I'm not going to fire him. I guess that would make sense, right? All the way around. But at least we have a president who's transparent and letting the people know what's happening so that we know what's going on. Mitch says there's only one loser. It's the bank. Yep. The bank is the loser. 100%. But once again, you've got a conservative in Donald Trump who's trying to promote prosperity, making America wealthy again. And you've got a Democrat in Jerome Powell who's holding us back. One man holding an entire country back right now when it comes to rates. One man, which is why I say don't ever forget who Jerome Powell is and what he has done and what he is trying to do, because there's no place for it. But we have a lot of people who do silly things and hurt people from that standpoint. One of those is Justice Brown. That's right. Justice Brown. This blew my mind. Ketanji Brown Jackson. I have often wondered how the hell she got to where she is, because when I hear her talk and I hear her statements, many of them just don't make sense. They don't make sense at all. We were talking about the school system and what's happening with schools and what kids are being taught. The Supreme Court is now addressing sexual books and trans books for kids bondage being shown to little kids because they put them in their libraries of books. I may ask our bookman who's coming on a little bit later, because I do agree that books should be published and brought out. But it's the people who bring books into places where they shouldn't is where my issue is. Robert says, by the way, guys, wrapping up the Powell discussion, Powell works for foreign bankers, not Americans. And I think that's pretty damn clear. Okay, here's Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson saying that schools should be able to teach your kids whatever the hell they want. And if you don't like it, just go to another school.
And I guess I'm struggling to see how it burdens a parent's religious exercise if the school teaches something that the parent disagrees with. You have a choice. You don't have to send your kid to that school. You can put them in another situation. And I guess I'm struggling.
She's literally saying, Joe, do you have a comment? I saw you had a sick look on your face.
Another situation, she said at the end. It was.
Jeannie says, effing disgusting. Literally, we're going to teach your kids what we want. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. You want to talk about communism, Marxism right off the get-go? That's what it is. That woman is a U.S. Supreme Court justice saying that. Yeah, if you don't like it, go take your kids somewhere else. That's the bad mark on public schools. Doesn't mean public schools are bad. It means, and it shows you who they're being directed by.
Well, and if all public schools are teaching the same thing, then how are you getting your kid into a different quote unquote situation if all the schools are teaching the same crap?
Well, Todd brings up a great point. No, Miss Jackson, we pay for our schools with tax dollars. We do have a voice. And you're absolutely right, Todd. If she's struggling, then what the hell is she in there for? Yeah. Yeah, she is struggling. That's a lifetime appointment. I mean, this isn't the only thing she said and done that makes you go, huh? What? Glenn says, that's fine for wealthier families. Yeah, we'll send our kids to private schools. Oh, yeah. Most people aren't wealthy. Most families can't afford the private for a variety of reasons. Or you do without. I know what it's like because I sent my kids. I struggled and had a lot of issues over the years because sending my kids to private school. Grateful we did. I have no issues with public schools. Not one bit. Not one bit. Not one bit. But my kids didn't go to a public school, and that was because of our faith. Faith starts in the home. It doesn't start at school. But the school can help you with your faith if it is a Christian private school. It can help you. If you're sending your kids to a public school that goes against what you teach from a faith standpoint, it can be a battle. It can be very difficult. That's just how it is when you break it down. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Thank you, Jeannie. You got my reference. Robert says, what hypocrisy. Bernie Sanders spent $250,000 to fly on private jets like an oligarch. He did. Oh, what do you mean? I'm Bernie. For his anti-oligarchy tour with AOC in tow. Yeah. They got caught on tarmacs flying private jets all around America. That's right. It's because they're fake, they're phony, the hypocrisy in the Democratic Party is there. It's not our opinion, it's fact. Sorry, it's fact. And then on the heels of Miss Jackson saying what she's been saying, how about this Democrat state senator? This is why you have to stay vigilant. Yes, Donald Trump is in office. Yes, his administration and his cabinet members are kicking ass right now at a rate that we are shown. We've never seen a president with more success this quick in the history of our country. Prove to me that I'm wrong. You can't. Or his cabinet member, prove to me that that's not true. You can't. Now what do we have? You have these little guys and gals popping up trying to be those yappy dogs. Listen to what Democrat State Senator Jamie Peterson had to say when it came to kids and their mental makeup at 13 years of age. And he went public with this.
Here's State Senator Jamie Peterson. This is just incredible. Listen here.
Kids over 13 have the complete right to make their own decisions about their mental health care. Parents don't have a right to have notice. What? They don't have a right to have consent about that.
Is that really what they think?
Young women have, if they're old enough to get pregnant, they're old enough to make their own decisions about what happens with their bodies, okay? And parents do not have the right to change that or make a different decision or be notified in advance.
Sounds like a pedophile.
Holy crap. That guy was elected to office. If he goes back, shame on Washington. My Lord. They won't stop. They won't stop. They're going to continue to push that party as left as they can possibly go, which is why so many former Democrats were forced to go Republican. Yeah, 13 years of age. Spend some time with a 13-year-old. Spend lots of time with 13-year-olds and then tell me that. It's insane, the ideals. When you don't have policy, you're going to come up with all of this crazy stuff. Positive policy, strong American patriotic policy is owned by the Conservative Party right now. It just is. It's not a fight or an argument. It is common sense back in the White House. This is what Democrats say. Where are the Democrats standing up against it? It's like Democrats are afraid to say something against somebody else. From the chat line, Vic, it supports the mental disorder that Democrats have that I've always talked about. I'm not trying to be mean. It's legit. There's a mental disorder. Abe says, who is that idiot? He's a pedophile. Well, he's a Washington state senator named Jamie Peterson, and he actually said that in public, which is why, yeah, if you look and listen to psychiatrists and surgeons, they will tell you the brain isn't fully developed until the age of 25 to 26. And I'll never forget, I know a world-renowned psychiatrist out of the St. Louis area, specifically in St. Charles, who says he loves using marijuana to help people with certain conditions. He thinks it's an amazing thing to, instead of drugs, instead of man-made pharmaceutical drugs. But he said, I will not recommend it to anybody who is under the age of 22, 23, 24 years of age because the brain is not fully developed. He's like, you can really hurt yourself if you're smoking marijuana weed when you're younger. He's like, but after that, he's like, I tell people they should use it.
Well, at 13, I was smoking weed, so that might be a.
I don't want.
There might be something to
I don't want
that.
to get into that. Damn, you ruined it for yourself, bro, Joe. No, that's all right. Jenny says, guys, that's just total bullshit. If they get into legal trouble, parents are expected to be responsible. Exactly right. You can't have it on both sides. You just can't. Common sense. The show is about being common sense. BS, a-hole, all coming from the chat line when it comes to that guy saying that about 13-year-olds. These are Democratic politicians doing and saying all of these things that are going on. Unfreaking believable. Mitch says 18-year-old is a great age for children to leave the nest. Okay, whatever. 13, though. We're talking about the age of 13. Of course, mainstream national media will never tell you these stories and the things that these Democrats are saying. We will. We're just trying to educate everybody. If you have a different opinion, you're always welcome on the show. Just back it with fact. Don't come and waste our time and make yourself look silly. We're just trying to help people understand what's actually happening in the world right now. What's going on? You've got to teach kids. Parents with a brain should immediately move. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Are you talking about school from earlier? It's not easy for everybody just to leave school. That's for sure. One thing I wanted to get to today, before we get to our guest today, Wayne Bell of coloringbook.com, the best coloring book company in the world, literally based out of the St. Louis area. You will not, we're going to show you this presidential education coloring book system that he put together. You won't want to miss this. Plus, maybe ask him some questions when it comes to books, when it comes to kids and schools. And I don't know, maybe I might be throwing him, unless he's watching already. I don't want to throw him for a loop too much. But this is from a couple days ago. A Boston police officer, and I'm sure many of you saw this, maybe you didn't, went into a situation where he was yelled at by a group of men when he was just there because he was called there to the scene. And he didn't do anything. He wasn't arresting anybody. And this is what happened. Just look at this situation here, because it blew my mind that a police officer, had to endure this.
Yo, bitch with a gun in your hand, bitch ass nigga. Yeah. Yeah. You never about that. You never about that. No, you a bitch. No, you a bitch. Yeah, it's unopened bottle. What you gonna do? I just came from the store. It's unopened. Yeah. No, you bitch, nigga. What you want, bro? Bitch ass. Say something. Do something. Fuck out of here, nigga.
You say you're a bitch. Take that short and give me world case.
You a bitch. You a bitch. You a whole bitch, nigga. Yo, bitch.
I mean, look at this video again. All he is doing is standing there in Boston, doing nothing wrong except trying to do his job.
You never about that. No, you a bitch. No, you a bitch. Yeah, it's unopened bottle. What you gonna do? I just came from the store.
Literally, you're talking about a Boston police officer swarmed with expletives in his face while responding to a call in the local neighborhood. I mean, literally, the video shows the officer being taunted and harassed as he tried to de-escalate a situation. Robert says, but if we use that language, it's hate speech, right? I mean, could you imagine being this officer? And we try to promote police here as well. They're bullying him, trying to intimidate him. He's by himself in a group like that. What would happen if the officer was white or if the officer was black and all the people there around him were white, cussing him in his face and doing that? Would there be a different uproar around the nation?
Well, let's not forget the fact that they were yelling racial terms toward them too. Imagine.
Oh, what did they say racially?
Bitch, N-word, but it's still racial. And if white people were to do the same.
Glenn says, yeah, they're always the same. Tough guys when it's 10-on-1. Mitch says hoodlums with no respect for the law. I'm not saying that police are right in every situation. They're not. They're not. They're not. I just get frustrated. Michelle says exactly, Vic. Can you imagine if that was a black officer in Boston or in Nebraska or Oklahoma or Texas, where there's 10 white guys using the N-word, getting in his face? Do you not think this would be all over news across America and the world for that matter?
Makes me wonder if it wasn't done, like if somebody didn't call the police so they could get this video. Because somebody would have, why was he there? You know, he had to have been responding to something.
He was called for, no, he was there to de-escalate a situation.
Oh, okay.
That there were people there that were getting ready to fight or argue. Police were called. Yeah. This officer was called in to de-escalate.
Doing his job. Yep.
Thank God, coming from the chat line, he wasn't hurt. Exactly. From the chat line, you can see why after a republic turns democracy, a dictator is the future. That's history. That's a whole nother issue, whether we're a democracy or a republic. That's what Robert's referring to. So what happens? Nothing happens. Can you imagine if he tried to arrest somebody for intimidating him? And guess what? If you get in a cop's face and cuss at them and make them feel like they are in a bad situation, they have every right to arrest you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Give me the rules. Correct me. If you get into an officer's face and start cussing them and intimidating them, you don't think they have the right to arrest you? You better damn well believe they do.
But in that situation, are you going to actually arrest anybody while that's
not
happening?
there?
Right.
That was my point. Can you imagine if he tried to arrest somebody?
it'd have been over.
And once again, we try on the show, we try to stick up for people who are bullied and people who get bullied. And that's an officer going into that situation. And I guarantee he was afraid. And there's no problem, or there's no issue in life in admitting you're afraid if you're a man. Just be honest. I guarantee he was afraid walking around because you're in that mob mentality. I've talked to it so many times. I was in so many fights over my life as a younger person, played college football. I'm like 6'2", 235. I've all worked out, fought, trained, boxed, jiu-jitsu, you name it. And I was afraid when I was in mob mentality.
The only way to not be afraid in that situation is if you have an S on your chest. You're outnumbered. I mean, like, how many people? Like, there was at least 20 to 1.
I mean, that's insane. And I'm like, why isn't this video being shown all over America? Mobs in charge, see it more all the time. Again, what idiot dispatched him by himself? That's another issue, Connie. You're right. I thought, why is he by himself in that hood trying to de-escalate something that is interpersonal? Because we know that's where most of those problems happen. Domestic issues. They surrounded him. Once again, what would have happened if races were different? It's just police shortage everywhere. That's true. Yeah. And police don't get respect. A wise officer, he knows and knew what to do. Correct. That makes sense. I just looked at this and I'm like, wow, wow, wow. Will anything else be done about it? That guy deserves a raise. That's what I said. The guy deserves a damn raise after dealing with that. I don't know what to I get frustrated when I see that. And that's what happens. This is cancel this show.com. Here's the thing. I was waiting on our guest, Wayne. He had to download something, I guess, to come onto the show so we could promote.
You shouldn't have to. Like, you should just be able to click a link.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to download anything.
Well, let me tell him that.
You should just have to click the link and type his name in and enter studio.
Yeah, I don't know. Guess who's not going back there? Probably that officer. You're right. Maybe he gained their respect too. I don't know. I don't know. Joe, he says it's not allowing him to do that. Maybe I'll try to send your number to him.
Yeah, I don't know what
quick.
link. Let me see.
That's interesting. I'm not quite sure. And I'll go ahead and do this and then include you with him so that we can do that. Include it. Okay. I just sent that, Joe. If you can give him some ideas. There you go. Okay. Nancy says, weren't there other cops that showed up? I know they do here. Where was his backup? We get a call like that. 3 or 4 cops come over. Yeah, I'm sure he called backup at some point, and I'm sure they arrived at some point in time. Paul says, yeah, and they make no money. They don't get a lot of respect. They're expected to do the job of like 10 different officers. Really, they've got like 10 different things they're doing, bare minimum. Jay says they are all cowards because if they weren't in a group, they wouldn't be doing that. Yeah, they are cowards. Every single one of those guys are cowards. You look them in their eyes, you can tell a coward. It's that group mob mentality. It should not have happened to that officer. Not one bit. Not one bit. And it's sad to hear that. This is canceltheshow.com. Vic Faust here, Pro Joe alongside. Thecoloringbook.com is the best coloring book store manufacturer in the world. And they're based in the St. Louis area in Olivet. Wayne Bell is their owner and CEO. Good friend of mine. I help him out when we can. We had Wayne on the show before. Wayne, I hope you can hear us all right this morning. I'm glad that you're joining us now
Thank you.
From your offices right there in Olivet. We love to promote education when it comes to politics, when it comes to the presidency. And you've got a freaking cool situation when it comes to a presidential education book. We've also got a link, and we'll show people the pictures here. And I know you got in front of you. Tell us what you've created there for people that they can purchase.
Well, can you see it well here?
Yeah.
This is the actual package. This is called A Kid's Guide to Presidential Education. And inside this kit, we have a President Trump and his cabinet poster, which is this poster right here. This is really wildly popular. So we took several items. We took a presidential notebook, which is this notebook right here. And also inside the notebook, it's got a index. So you can keep notes on what you're doing. Plus the pages are numbered, and most notebooks don't number their pages, but we do. And then this is also the presidential coloring book. It's a really nice coloring book. Hopefully I'm holding it up well. I'm doing this back in the middle of the plant this morning. Can you hear the machines behind?
Oh yeah, the presses. We hear the presses rocking and rolling back there.
And then this is also a U.S. Constitution book just for kids. It's a very popular book that teaches children all about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. So it's really a pretty awesome book. I don't know if you guys can see that there. And so we took all of these individual products and we put them into a package. And when we put them in this package, we basically cut the price by about 70% so people could get an entire package instead of having to buy the items one at a time.
How many items are in that one package, Wayne?
There's 5 different items in this package right here. And it also comes with a free pack of crayons, because a couple of them are coloring books. And so inside it, I mean, it's really educational.
How many pages are in the coloring book of President Trump?
Well, I think collectively here, there's probably about 120 pages total.
Oh, wow.
For kids to color.
Yeah, from the chat line, Robert says, bless you, Wayne Bell, for what you're doing. Love coloring still. So relaxing. Also coming from the chat line. Very, very nice. So when you have a huge package like that, how much is it? What are you guys selling that for?
These are, I think it's $19.71 is the retail, or is the wholesale cost. And so it's not retail. And then if you see it online, I believe it's $19.71.
Yeah, 1972, what we have here. So people should just go to thecoloringbook.com. Is that the best way to purchase this?
Go to coloringbook.com and look up the Kid's Guide to Presidential Education. Can you see that right there?
Yeah. Yeah, we have your website up right now as well.
Oh, thank you.
So we're showing the picture of everybody, how they can shop and do that from that standpoint. And is there any way for people to let you know that they've gotten this link or they've gotten the word from Cancel This?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every time somebody clicks on the link, we'll know where they're coming from, and we'll know the date and time and stamp everything. So that's really cool. And so we can identify everybody that's on the website, and who orders, we'll know instantaneously by looking at the back end of the website. And so our company, I mean, historically, we've made a lot of coloring books for the nation. We have thousands of coloring books all over the world, really. And but presidential coloring books, we've been making presidential coloring books for over 20 years. And we've made, I think, the last 5 presidential administrations, but none has been so popular as this man that's in office right now.
Yeah, I could definitely see why. But wait a second. I thought you had, I know we're not talking about presidents. I'm switching it to politicians. Ted Cruz, a long time ago, didn't he filibuster and you made a coloring book about it?
I actually did. It's right here behind me on a shelf. And the Ted Cruz coloring activity book is actually online at coloringbook.com. That was the wildest coloring book. That coloring book was the #1 selling child's coloring book of all coloring books, all books included, on Amazon.com for 23 weeks in a row. I mean, that also was like Chuck Todd at NBC's Meet the Press called it the political gift of the year. It appeared in 800 plus media outlets across the United States alone. And I think that Ted Cruz, one of his people, told us that if he had paid for that publicity, it would have cost him $75 million. And so, in fact, here's the book right here. If you want to, This is the Ted Cruz activity book for kids. Down at the bottom, it says grassroots. But this book, I mean, Ted Cruz himself, I've met him. He's a wonderful guy. He said that the most precious thing about this book was this back here, where his kids colored the family. His sister, I believe, bought him some of the books for Christmas, and he goes, that's the first thing the kids grabbed when they were young, and they colored it. He goes, that's a very precious moment for him. But inside the coloring book, it was really, I mean, a lot of people love Ted Cruz, but then again, a lot of people don't, and that's okay too, you know.
Wayne, can you let people know if they got an idea here, how they can make a coloring book for themselves, their business, their organization, via custom or imprintable? I full disclosure, I do some work on the side with Wayne and his group, and we're talking with a huge sports team in the St. Louis area right now. And there's also people who are, trying to get books, even if they're attorneys. So coloring books are a great way to market.
Coloring books, basically, I mean, our company, we founded the world's original coloring book website, coloringbook.com. I've been making coloring books literally since before the internet was even invented. I used to do this the old-fashioned way, so to speak. But we make many, many coloring books. I probably made 13,500 books myself personally over the many years. I've been doing this since 1988, officially as a corporation. And but if you want to make a custom coloring and activity book about yourself, all you have to do is basically say what you want on the pages. I mean, our goal in essence is to take what you say and put it on paper, and to make you look good. I mean, if you have a business, a bank, an insurance company, a real estate firm, a lawyer, and you want to educate the community, not just children, but adults too, because adults love to color as well. And but we take a lot of information from businesses and we simply make them look good on paper. And we do it in a way that's fashionable. We do it in a way that's accurate. We have teachers and educators that review all the materials we create, and they make sure it's good for kids of all ages. And so if somebody wanted a book about real estate, we have many, many real estate. We've made real estate books like crazy all over the United States. Or an insurance company, just give us the information. Then go to coloringbook.com, and there's all kinds of forms there where you can just click on custom books at the top of coloringbook.com, and we'll build the book for you. It's pretty inexpensive to make a coloring book. We manufacture them here 100%. Everything is made here. And our books are available all over the nation. They're available on Walmart.com, on Amazon, many other retail outlets as well. And so even if your dream is to make a book about a subject or a topic, and you want to be a published author, all you have to do is make the decision to become an author. And once you make that decision that you want to be published, we can help you get there. We do it every day, all day. In fact, I just met a gentleman over in Chesterfield this morning. We're publishing a 40-page book for him. He's teaching children about art. And so so we can make books. We love making books, and everything is done right here in St. Louis. And we're in no big hurry. Once someone tells us that they want to make a book, we lay out a schedule for them, we get it done, and we get it done on their terms. Because at the end of the day, my job is to take an individual, a bank, a business, an organization, and make them look good on paper. And our company is really pretty professional about that. I mean, we really take a lot of pride in making you look the way you want to look on paper.
Yeah, I was blown away when you told me about people who have coloring books, from Chance the Rapper to Ralph Lauren, to the PBS shows, comedians.
Nationally in all their markets, 320 something markets. I've made books for the Radio City Rockettes. Their first coloring book that ever existed was made by our company. For Cirque du Soleil in Madison Square Garden, SpongeBob SquarePants, cartoonish type coloring books. Most of the books that we make, I mean, we make custom books in our custom book division, and that is just enormous. It grows and grows and grows. But we make a lot of books for ourselves as well. Dinosaur books, ABCs, trains, zoo animals. We make pretty much everyday coloring books because in this day of like high tech cost and expense, coloring books are relatively inexpensive. Plus, they keep families together and they keep businesses, in the home for years. Like if you own an insurance company or a bank or something, and you want to impress your community, make a book that teaches kids how to save money. Make a book that teaches children what finance is about, and be good about it. I mean, be very descriptive and make them color the pages and learn about money and things like that. So there's a lot of things you can do with a coloring book.
Yeah, I think Robert from Detroit may be contacting you to make one called he wants to make a coloring book called Teach Democrats How to Think, the coloring book.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert may be calling you on that one. We'll see. Hey, buddy, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us this morning, Wayne. Once again, go to coloringbook.com/cancel this. Is that our link, Joe? Is that the link that Wayne gave us?
It will take them to the site where they'll be able to tell where they're coming from.
Okay. Coloringbook.com/cancel this. The Presidential Education Coloring Book Pack, massive pack, under $20. Check it out. Think about somebody who could really use that. Plus, you even got a 4-pack of crayons there as well. Wayne Bell with the coloringbook.com. Appreciate it, buddy. Talk to you later.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
You got it. Love it when people are trying to educate and help, as Wayne and his partner Ken do. That's for sure, over there at the coloringbook.com. Located in Olivet, by the way, as well. Very, very cool. A lot of musicians using coloring books as well, too. Go figure. Guys, we appreciate you joining us today. Thanks for making the show what it is on cancelthisshow.com. Nancy says teaching kids about Jesus would be a great coloring book. Absolutely. For Pro Joe, I'm Vic Faust. Have an awesome day. We will catch up with you guys next time. That does it for Cancel This.
Folks, today's a big conversation. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Dupuy.